Dave McLaughlin. He just got out of the dentist chair, and when you see the footage, you're going to see the Brad Pitt smile, or, oh my goodness, like movie star smile, which Dave, you've always had that. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much.
It's so exciting that all of us as grown-ups are getting braces and going through that together. I feel like it makes us even more relatable to all the other grown-ups out there who are going through this. And now I even wonder, why would you go through this if you were 10 or 12, if you're going to have to go through it again? Right?
Yeah, I went through mine at 48 and never thought I would do it, Sandra, at 48, you know, but it's more than just look, right? It aligns the jaw, it's proper bite. There's so much goes into it.
Yeah. So if there are any boss babies at home that are working from home and they're tuning into our real estate show right now, save the money, invest in some stock like EXPI. When I came over on board with EXP, the stock is $11 a share. It's trading at about 40 right now. So as a business plan, I've been helping people for over 20 years. You've been helping people longer than me. We are now engaged at a level where we're helping all the people in our industry, all the buyers and sellers. And this year for Christmas, heads up, the funnest place to go, and this is on track with Real Estate Report, because the funnest place to go is at a university town center. Who would have ever thought that the mall and the mall grounds would have horse carriage rides? It's near Benderson Park. It happens to be also on the west side of I-75, where Dave and I's new favorite neighborhood is on the east side of I-75 at Waterside. Do you want to tell a little bit about that for a moment, Dave?
No, Waterside, just an amazing thing that you talked about, where you got a 270 plus acre lake, and they're going to build a downtown area around that and have water ferries taking you into downtown. So just amazing, and it's right here in Lakewood Ranch. And I've always liked it because we talk about generational living. So you have, you know, grandparents, mother, father, and then children all buying homes out there, and there's business, there's plenty of jobs and opportunity. So really it's live, work, and play. So a lot of people, when you get out there, you're just like its own little town. And I like it because it's all new. It reminds me of Disney World. 8-foot sidewalks, lots of 50% green spaces, plenty of lakes, and, you know, just a lot of nature. Really nice.
Well, and sidewalks are a big deal for walkability, livability, and it happens to be one of the few places that there's a couple of nooks and crannies in Inglewood and Venice where it has sidewalks that the whole family can walk on. And an aside to Dave and I will always tell you, it is like Disney World here, except we are the characters.
Right.
So, right, because everyone from around the world lives in this area. It's a great people watching place, but it's also a great place for us who are doing business, where we're doing business with people from all around the world. So the only criteria where we'll interface with you directly is, does it meet fair housing, and are you qualified to buy a house? Let's talk a little bit about what's going on in the market with mortgages this week. Dave, how's it going?
Well, it's a great week in mortgage with the vaccines coming out. There's 3 vaccines coming out, maybe a 4th. And so what that means is the bond market, you know, started people investing in the bond market. Rates are coming down. So the rates this week are lower this week than they were last week. And quick story, I'm doing a loan right now for someone on a 30-year mortgage with excellent credit. You got a 2.5% interest rate. The annual percentage rate is like 2.625, but the rate he's making a payment on is 2.5%. So what that means is, you know, versus a year ago, that person could buy $90,000 to $100,000 more house and have the same payment. So if you talk about Waterside and some of these other amazing neighborhoods, now is a great time to buy because you can really lock in that low rate, which helps the affordability part of it.
Oh, and affordability for my friends back in Iowa, and they hear the price points. Well, you know, we're outside a lot. We don't have 4 seasons. We don't have 4 changes of clothes. We don't have snow shovels in our garage, right? But 2 earner income couple in our area, the median price point is still almost $300,000 for Sarasota and Manatee County. And that is, there are a lot of jobs and the businesses like to be here because of close proximity to all the amenities. Now with interest rates, there's not a better time to buy, is there?
No, there's not. And when you talk about the median price, affordability is the biggest thing stopping people. That's the fear. People don't think they can afford it. But a monthly payment with property taxes, homeowners insurance on a $300,000 home, it's less than $1,600 per month. And you're talking about a nice 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage home, maybe a pool, maybe not. But if you go rent that same home in our area, because some people say, well, I'll just rent, or you move into one of those new apartment complexes, the rent for a 3-bedroom home, Sandra's got to be at least $2,000 per month. So if you buy a home from you at $300,000, they're going to save $400 a month, and it's fixed, right? On rent, they keep raising the price every year. They can go up, but if you get a fixed mortgage, the payment stays the same. So we really take that fear out, and that we do that by asking the right questions, which is what we talked about prior to this segment, which was really discovering what people need and then delivering on that.
Well, and in helping people move in the last 20 years, that I can help somebody get 10 to 18% more for their home than the traditional approach, but thecashmove.com allows anyone who clicks on that site to have an instant offer from 5 to 6 companies almost anywhere in the United States. And there's no fixing, no staging, no repairs, and a flexible closing date. So in our market today, where everything is changing, people want to have the full concierge of service when they're selling, and when they're coming here, oftentimes they have to sell that home. We also still have a lot of second-time home buyers who are very active in our marketplace buying waterfront condos. And the average price still is, the median price is still $300,000 in Sarasota and Manatee County. The high Sarasota price last week was on a 1.5 acre lot on the bay. Now it's south of where Hidden Harbor Marina. So we know that area is a little slower water. It's kind of shallow. It's closer to Siesta, to Casey Key, where that bridge is, where all the kids, if they're on open water, are training for their rowing. And the price of that home was only $4.8 million.
Wow, only 4.8.
Only 4.0. 150 feet, no wait, actually 162 feet of intercoastal frontage. So you're paying for that frontage. That is one of the areas near Spanish Point where we have 300 years of Indian mounds that show us this area has never been hit by a hurricane. We have high winds, and the Indian mounds show us that the people just lived here peacefully. We get great water, and it can go at a horizontal. That's why we keep everything to a hurricane code. And those hurricane doors, the sliders, have a nice lip so that when we get those horizontal rains, it keeps your place from flooding. And that area of town did not flood at all when you get into Osprey, just the way the water is set up. So I'm sure that person who was looking at the history of that $4.8 million home, and it's a hotel-sized home with its own boat dock, and knowing the tides, and knowing also that that's great fishing right there, and great birding. You know a little bit about fishing and boating. What's been going on? Did you spend any time on your boat over Thanksgiving?
I did, and so I went to St. Augustine, which is in Florida, because people are staying in Florida. We always talk about that. There's so much to do here. So we went and explored St. Augustine and the history, which was really nice. But you mentioned the water. I grew up in Sarasota, and if you're listening and you want to buy water, you just mentioned so many things that people take for granted. But you can't just buy a house on the water if you're a boater, because you have to know the draft of the boat, how deep it is, how many bridges you need to get out. There's so many things that go into, waterfront homes. Is it on the point? How far is it down the canal? Does that canal silt in? But that's why they need you to guide them, because like you said, you've been doing this 20 plus years. You know the good boating water, and that's part of the question and discovery process.
It is, and that's the first thing we ask them. What kind of boat do you have, or what kind of boat do you want? Or where do you want to go fishing? Because you don't even have to go out that far anymore for good fishing, do you?
You don't. And again, we take it for granted. And I know a person that moved to Sarasota, and he was an avid boater, couldn't wait to fish. And the real estate agent that he was working with, Sandra, didn't ask him those questions. what kind of boat are you going to get? So he bought the wrong boat for the home, couldn't use it.
Oh my goodness. Oh
Yes.
my goodness.
So we say that because, again, those are important things, part of the question. So, you know, again, we don't take that lightly.
No, we don't. And we don't have any. We have marinas that did not shut down and will never shut down because they're full county and city access. So you can just come right up with your truck and your trailer and go on with your boat. And when you look at any pictures any day in this area, it is full of people enjoying the water, including the high sail in Manatee County. Now, I'm going to give you, it's Gulf frontage, new construction. Now, I forgot to write down what the square footage of, and it probably wasn't that much of square footage because Gulf frontage on Longboat, 6525 Gulf of Mexico Drive on Longboat Key sold for $3.9 million.
Wow. I love Longboat Key. What a beautiful area, isn't it?
Yep, and that part of Longboat Key, that's just almost right across the street in the area where you can go to Harry's Market, where you can go to Harry's Restaurant. There is a real person named Harry and Harry Jr. And the nice thing about that part of Longboat Key, I mean, the island is so narrow that you have beach on one side and boating on the other side. And it's very quiet, and no one's there unless they live there. The through traffic is very slow, and it's kind of a little bit of a drive to get there, so it's a nice drive. But by 6 or 8 o'clock in the evening, it pretty much shuts down, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
So if you're after, the Siesta Key family, I got the kids in tow, the teenagers are with us, the 20-year-olds, and the grandparents are in town, everyone wants something to do. Siesta Key, over the last 20 years and beyond, I've been told by realtors who've been here since the 80s, Siesta Key is a value point that has always had almost no vacancy. In other words, there's no hotels on any of these beaches. So for an investment point, Siesta Key is probably the family investment area to work. Longboat is more of, somebody who doesn't care about getting in a car. They're going to come and stay there for a couple of months and they don't care about paying Harry's high prices. Right. It's cool, Harry, I love you. But the price is, I mean, it's like I would pay when I'm in Hawaii or some other island where you're paying, it's got to be shipped in, and the folks that are there, it's just exquisite food. But every time I'm there, I'm realizing, I am in the middle of nowhere paying for gourmet food. I mean, there's a cost to get that gourmet out there.
Right.
So, and when you're living on Longboat Key, you don't care about that cost. I just got to say, because in the last couple of weeks, our high price was $1,000 a square foot Longboat, $1,000 a square foot Longboat. So when you and I are talking about the median price point, yes, we have 7,500 licensees in the area. We have a lot of people with a license, and there's just several hundred of us that help do a lot of transactions every year. So every transaction we're involved, for those of us who have been around a long time, like you, we're involved with asking a lot of questions because we know we might be dealing with a group of people who are a little more unfamiliar with the area because they're visiting or have only been visiting for 5 years. What are a couple of tips you would give somebody who's looking at this area and wants to decide, let's say, above and beyond over Naples to the south of us and Clearwater to the north of us? What would you tell them?
Well, I think Naples, they used to always say had the billionaires, and then we had the millionaires. But I've been to Naples several times, and if you look at our beaches and our golf courses, they rival Naples. But I think we have more jobs. There's more opportunity. So it's different, right? If you're going to be a second home buyer or a retiree versus a young family moving here, I think there's more opportunities in Sarasota. And I think Sarasota's laid out a little bit better than Naples. Clearwater is great. I love Clearwater, white sandy beaches, just like ours. But the traffic there is very congested, I would say, in Clearwater. I think the prices are similar to Sarasota, maybe a little bit less. But I think overall quality of life, I'm biased, of course, being in Sarasota my whole life. But anywhere on this coast, right, Sandra? Anywhere from Clearwater down through, Manasota Key, Inglewood is really nice, this Gulf Coast here.
It is, and I'm so excited that you and I have this time together and we're together each week. What's the best way that people can call you? Because I know they're gonna wanna ask you questions about the market, getting pre-qualified for a mortgage and getting started on their venture here in the area, or
Yeah, if
getting
you're,
rebooted.
yeah, I think if you're starting this, like you said, from A to Z, we're gonna make it seamless, all the way from, being the tour guide to getting pre-approved, and then everything in between to make it seamless. So it's the best way to call or text is 941-724-7653. Feel free to reach out at any time, and click the video, like us, and I'm here to help.
Excellent. I appreciate your time today. You're looking good. The smile is amazing.
Thanks for making my day.
I'm sure we'll find a way to be on TV with that beautiful smile.
I'm ready. All right, Sandra, thank you so much.